Welcome back to Morning at NTV, and today the big topic is on maternal health. Be sure to ask us your questions. The hashtag is Morning at NTV. As many questions as you want. Are you pregnant? Do you have questions to ask? Do you have uncertainties that you really don't know how to go about? We have Dr. Robert Businje, who is a senior consultant and obstetrician at Mulago Hospital. He is senior, so meaning he's the right person to talk to this morning. Welcome to the show, Dr.
Good morning, viewers.
Yeah, the statistics are quite high, and according to the Uganda Demographic Survey, they're actually saying that at around 300 women lose their lives out of 100,000 live births. That's a very high number, Dr. What are these causes?
Yes, it is truly a high number, though in the recent years we've been making progress, having been as high as the 500 or so. So it has been a good progress.
So there's an improvement.
There is an improvement, but we still have a long way
to go.
And the causes of the maternal mortality are many. Unfortunately, a lot of them are preventable. And that gives us an opportunity that with improvements in maternal care, we may be able to go further and bring this
number down
further and further, until we are under 10.
Under 10?
Yes.
Is that achievable in developing countries?
That's why we should aim towards the developed countries. But definitely it is achievable in the long run.
Okay, let's have a conversation. Let's start at antenatal care. You're a woman, you've just realized that, oh, I've actually conceived, there's something growing in me. What is the first step that a new mom, not even a new mom, someone who has just realized that they've conceived, what is the first step they need to take?
It would have been even better had they planned that I want to be a mom.
Okay.
Therefore, in that situation, you can have a health check. Ensure that the blood pressure is normal, they're not anemic, and most important, they can also take some folic acid pre-conception.
Pre-conception.
Folic acid. It does in the long run help to reduce the risk of abnormalities of the head and the spine that some of the babies may get. But not everybody has that chance to have planned to conceive.
Yes.
So for those who discover that they are pregnant now, the important thing is to go for the antenatal care as early as possible. And a good catch would be 2 missed periods. 1 missed period may be, it could happen, but 2 missed periods with some symptoms, as the midwife was been elaborating, then probably it is a pregnancy, and that is a time to start. 2 missed menstrual periods. 2
missed menstrual periods. So when I want to go for a checkup, what should I expect? What should because I know there are some hospitals that really have, and it's a thing about, you know, the health service. The hospitals where you go and they just do the basics. But what should a new mom, especially the new moms, what should they expect when they go to a healthcare for a checkup?
The basics are 3. First would be a history taking. Taking the history allows the healthcare provider to dig into and inquire and question factors around this pregnancy that could predispose to a bad pregnancy outcome. These may be maternal age, the very young, the very old have their special problems. These may be pre-existing conditions. The diabetics, hypertensives, sicklers have their problems. For the non-new moms, this may be what happened in the last pregnancy, in the previous pregnancies, a cesarean, a stillbirth, excessive bleeding. So all this history allows the service provider to categorize this mom that this may be, well, for now it looks ordinary. Of course, everybody can turn out to switch from ordinary to very abnormal
Yes.
in time.
Yes.
Or to say right from the word go, this is a high risk situation. So apart from the history taking that allows the health service provider to give and get an idea of the risks involved, a physical examination is done. Obviously, the degree, the exhaustiveness of the physical examination
Yes.
may vary from place to place and service provider to service provider.
Okay.
But it goes again along the other lines of ensuring that there are no coexisting conditions: heart disease, low blood, anemia, infections in the urine, well, which takes us to the next group, which is the investigations.
Yes.
The investigations, obviously these days HIV is always right there on top, but there are many others that need to be done. HIV, syphilis, the amount of blood, the blood sugar, urine infection, and unfortunately the list is long. One has to look at the local available facilities and what can be reasonably handled by the service provision at that level of facility. But all in all of them are focused on identifying extra risk factors that may not have necessarily been picked at the history, so that this new mom can be categorized at what level of care should we
Put her in.
Should she be pushed upstairs?
Yes.
Or can she be handled at this health facility and see if there are any new developments as time goes by?
I hear you. So it actually helps if the patient or the mother is actually as frank and as open as possible to give out enough information as much as possible. And to be open-minded as well.
Absolutely. Luckily, we've moved far. There were times in the past when somebody would say, I've had one cesarean section, whereas there were 3, knowing that if it was 1, she would be allowed a chance to try. If there were 2 or 3, there was no chance for trial. But with the improvements of care and the confidence that people are having in the surgical services, that type of problem of hiding another previous cesarean section has stopped. But it gives really sheds light that any history needs to come forth, not be hidden, because it you could imagine if somebody said, don't test me for HIV, I did it yesterday, it is negative, whereas it was positive.
Correct.
Definitely the risks to the baby increase, yet there are interventions that can reduce the mother-to-child transmission of HIV.
Wow, wow. So you need to be as open as possible. Daktari, there's this issue about the ultrasound where it actually starts when the pregnancy, develops at some point. I personally underwent a series of ultrasounds just to check, if the baby was okay and all that. But at some point, I'd hear comments of, you're not supposed to do ultrasounds every so frequently. There's side effects, it could hurt the baby. How true is this?
So ultrasound, like any other investigation, intervention, in my opinion, it needs to have, what is the question? Why do you want to do an ultrasound scan? Leave alone the potential risks, and they are truly minimal as far as medical knowledge is concerned at this particular time. But in the first trimester, you're asking the question, is this a pregnancy? Maybe it's phantom. Is this in the uterus? Maybe it is an ectopic. Is the baby alive? Maybe it is not.
Yes.
Is it 1? Maybe it is 2 or 3 or 4. And that accounts for the first 12 weeks of pregnancy ultrasound scan. As we go into the second trimester, maybe between 12 weeks, to 28, we're asking a different set of questions. Is this baby growing well? Are there any signs that would point to a possibility of congenital abnormalities, chromosome abnormalities, the Down syndrome that sometimes we may have heard about? Is this the growth, is it normal? And that is the second trimester scan. Later in pregnancy, one may do 1 or 2, and you are asking a different set of questions. Still the one of growth.
Yes.
Is the growth okay? Is it healthy? Is the amniotic fluid good?
Yes.
Is the cord round the neck? Where is the placenta? Is the placenta lying low and could cause us bleeding? And lastly, so at the end of pregnancy, it may be as we are finishing, are we all set? Is it okay? Is there any new development? So probably 3 or 4 ultrasound scans
Are
enough for where this is affordable. Obviously, we can reduce this number.
Yes.
There are also some situations where an ultrasound scan is done on every visit, though in my opinion, it may not necessarily be necessary.
And
it comes at a cost.
And does
Who
it
is
have
paying?
side effects to the baby?
Currently, we think that there are no side effects to the baby or to the mother. But in medical practice, it is always good to be cautious. And whatever we do, we should say why. Even if there were no risks, who is paying? This ultrasound scan could have been done for another mom who needs it more.
Yes.
And we're scanning this one 10 times. There's somebody on the other side with twins, and nobody knows that she has twins.
Yes.
And twins are high risk. So this facility should be used reasonably. It should be a rational use of the ultrasound scan.
There has
but
to
it's
be a cost.
very good thing. Sometimes I look at our practice before ultrasound scan and with currently with ultrasound scan, and I say, wow, we're good doctors then. we definitely will have help now.
Now, still under ultrasounds. I remember I was during I have 2 kids. And during, yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes.
I have 2 children. And I remember my experiences with the 2 during pregnancy. Every time my gynecologist used to tell me, when you go to a radiologist, ensure that you ask as many questions as possible. Make sure you follow up on the rate score of your child. Now, maybe you can enlighten us about what a scorecard is when it comes to rating the health of the baby via an ultrasound.
That's of course answers when I was saying is the baby healthy?
Yes.
How do we judge that the baby is healthy?
Yes.
So it's a biophysical profile. The radiologist checks is the baby showing some breathing movement? It is like practice breathing movement.
Yes.
What is the heart rate of the baby? Is the amniotic fluid okay? Is the baby showing gross movements and kicks? And that tells the radiologist that this baby looks fine, or this baby is already showing the amniotic fluid seems to be drying up. The baby is hardly moving, hardly showing any breathing movements. This is a baby at risk. And the mom may have been feeling very comfortable. Then she comes back with the ultrasound scan, the doctor says, we have to deliver this baby today. And it is all a little of a shock.
Yeah.
But that is the use of the ultrasound scan and scoring. There's also, currently also look at the blood flow and the umbilical cord, and that may add extra information about health of this intrauterine baby.
Let's now switch gears to the nutrition of the mom who has just realized that, you know what, I've conceived, there's something growing in me. Should they start on supplements immediately? And is it important to actually be on supplements? Because I've had friends who have told me, my first baby was okay, I didn't take supplements, why should I take now? So what is the importance of taking supplements?
The one, first of all, should say, before you even thinking about supplements, you need to look at the diet. You cannot supplement everything.
The natural diet, yes.
The natural diet. The healthier the natural diet is,
the better. The
better, and the less the need of the supplements. And if we look at the old way we classify the foods, you could say at breakfast, at lunch, at supper? Have I taken some carbohydrates? Oh, everybody takes carbohydrates.
Yes.
Some bread, some potato. Have I taken some vitamins? Oh, that's the greens and fruits. Now, those commonly miss out on the meals. Have I taken some protein? Is it a piece of chicken? Is it fish? Is it beans? Is it peas? Is it greens? So, or nuts. As long as one is looking at this diet and making sure that it's balanced, you have done 99% of the job. Obviously, pregnancy makes demands on the body,
yes.
and sometimes the body may not be able to cope with the new demands, and there's a need for supplementation. But if one looks at the supplementation, iron is top of all the supplements.
Correct.
So if iron is in the supplemented, it usually goes with the folic acid we had already talked about. That's good. That's very good.
That's enough. You can stop at that and make sure you have a balanced diet.
Yes. Okay. Now, you have the luxury of going for the extra micronutrients, in the calcium, in the pregnant care, the zinc, the B12, B6.
Yes. Now,
that is the extra. But we must look at what is the bare basic minimum that does it. A balanced diet, iron and folic acid. Some luxury, that's fine.
So once you have iron and folic acid, you're good to go, and a balanced diet.
That's
okay,
right.
Let's talk about the role of exercising in all this. Mothers, when they get pregnant, especially them that don't have high-risk pregnancies, you know, the body changes, and at some point you feel tired all the time, and we're actually tempted to never exercise. So is it important to actually be exercising on a regular basis?
Exercise in pregnancy, one, it keeps you positive. The person is positive, doing something about it, you are healthy, and a healthy body for a healthy pregnancy and a healthy delivery. That is, it has such a positive psychological impact. The second, which is truly medical, it reduces the risk of clots in the legs.
Wow.
In pregnancy, there is an increased risk of blood clotting. So somebody who is absolutely sedentary may have an increased risk over and above that one that is being raised by the pregnancy per se. And by keeping active, that reduces the chances. The question is,
which exercises to do?
Which exercise? One should look at what was your level of exercise before the pregnancy. If you've been the lazy type, the active type.
Okay.
If you've been the acting type, the Serena of this world,
yes,
somebody should cut down on the exercise.
Okay.
But for those who have been the sedentary type,
yes,
they definitely should increase some exercise. At least a minimum would be about half a kilometer walk per day. That's the minimum one can go with. And there are higher levels of exercise, though they should be supervised so that we are not causing so much strain on the pelvis and the tummy itself.
Is swimming advisable?
Swimming is perfect. Swimming is okay. It's a good exercise, yes, and poses no risk to the pregnancy.
All right. Let's talk about opportunistic infections and diseases that actually, target women who are pregnant. Because I know once you're pregnant, then your immunity is also compromised. What should we look out for? Because I know malaria is the key thing. I remember when I was pregnant, I was told, always sleep under a treated net. Yes. Is that true?
The immunity to malaria reduces during pregnancy. Unfortunately, it reduces even more for the first-timers. So the first-timers' immunity to malaria reduces. She is also the one who may likely be anemic. So the burden of malaria, the effect of malaria on a first-timer is even worse. And when people are pregnant, their skin temperature is higher, and they may be more, the mosquitoes may be more attracted to them. Lower immunity, more risk of bites. So the risks to for malaria is even higher. Yet malaria has such a negative, powerful impact on pregnancy, and we think it is a very important cause of maternal anemia, of intrauterine fetal death, and of miscarriages. There are obviously other changes in the immune system, and commonly we do meet a lot of people who didn't have candida. And then candida crops up in pregnancy. The pregnancy hormones, the sugars may also worsen candida. Luckily, the candida infection is not such a dangerous. It is a nuisance.
It can be treated.
Can be treated. It's a nuisance, but not a dangerous condition.
All right. Let's talk about the childbirth. Many women, especially us, the modern women, we're like, we cannot go through natural birth, you know, because we are afraid that of the effects that maybe are not true, but there's a lot going round about anti-natural birth, and most of them actually preferring cesarean section. So according to you, as you know, an expert in this area, which one is the best, natural versus cesarean section?
The two questions you have brought up there.
Yes.
One is the modern woman asking for cesarean section rather than normal.
Natural birth, yes.
Natural birth. I don't see those. They are not there. There is a myth out there that this modern woman
does not want to push.
Does not want to push. but in reality, they don't come. We see extremely few. Actually, the modern woman wants to push her baby.
Seriously?
Yes,
okay.
Because I think they are very informed, and they are not too happy to have.
Is it that cesarean section poses higher dangers than natural birth?
Very many people fear to be operated. I would fear to be operated myself, and they are right to fear to be operated. So the myth that there is a lot of demand for cesarean section, and here we're talking about primary type, somebody who's never had a cesarean section.
Yes.
They are really, really few, and it's a good thing, because that's where the rest of the world is, that we shouldn't be doing cesarean sections. A cesarean section is a big operation. The risks associated with it, bleeding, clots, anesthesia, are high, and it should always be done for a reason. There is a danger that we are currently facing because we've made it safer. The hospitals are safer, the doctors are better at doing it, the anesthesia is really improved.
Yes.
No longer have to give that general anesthesia,
yes,
and the famous caliform, it was called, of the general anesthesia.
Yeah.
And people recover quite well. There is a danger in that people could think that this is a small operation, go cut,
go back, you're back to normal.
And go back to normal.
Yes.
No, we shouldn't take it like that. We should take it as a big surgery that requires big reasons to be done. So
in your opinion, natural birth is the best way to go? If you don't have complications, natural birth?
Absolutely. And natural birth, of course, the medical profession, we need to up our game to ensure that the experience of natural birth is more positive, not the old story of you come in, you are beaten, you are shouted at. Obviously, that switches off the population.
Correct.
And one of the important areas that is upcoming and is going to be the issue of the future is pain management in labor. Because that's what frightens people.
Yes.
I'm going to feel a lot of pain in labor. So if we continue to improve and address pain in labor, then the situation will be better. But one has to know that also the pain is also the psychological preparedness for labor. If somebody comes for labor absolutely scared of this whole process, we've lost it before we started it.
Yes.
So as we push our psychological preparedness, toward in the antenatal period, as we work together with we improve our skills, the doctors, the midwives, we involve other birth plan preparedness experts. We have a person coming in to the labor ward in a very positive spirit, high mood.
Yes.
That's the type of person that will have a more positive experience. And as we engage the person, that what are your expectations in labor? What would you wish for? And we see how we work together with this pregnant mom to have a positive birth experience. The requirement for those cesarean sections will go down, and it will be a safer world for pregnant moms.
Exactly. Let's touch a little bit on postnatal depression. Postpartum depression, as you call it. What causes postpartum depression? Is it that lack of support systems? What exactly causes it? Because I know you have seen many women who have undergone that. What's your take?
Unfortunately, postpartum depression is commonly missed. It is quite common, but you see, she's delivered, she was in the hospital for 1 day or 3 days, and she's gone back to her community.
Yes.
And nobody's noticing that she looks depressed, she's moody, she may lose interest in the baby, she wants to lock herself up. By the time somebody notices that the person is crying unreasonably, then it has been going on for some time. Obviously, it can be just a mild postpartum depression. Sometimes it is a real serious postpartum depression.
And how do you actually detect that this person is undergoing depression?
Probably the first important thing is to be on the lookout.
Okay.
To be on the lookout and to have discussed it in the antenatal period with the very same person. That if she starts feeling some of these symptoms we talked about, she knows this is coming. And if one had the opportunity, and this should be the standard, that the discussion took place together with the partner.
Yes.
Then that helps a lot. Then you have somebody who is with her and is noting these differences and is able to take action quickly. But to the first question, anybody can suffer from postpartum depression. Even those with a lot of support at home, they can suffer from postpartum depression. Obviously, for those who are first-timers, those whose social support system is not very good, the risks increase, because it is, especially first moms, it is overwhelming. There's this baby, the baby is crying, the mom does not know for sure.
Yes.
She seems to be incompetent, and that can feed into the postpartum depression.
So having a support system that is not just there, but is actively there to notice if you're actually, your norms and your mannerisms are changing. Okay.
Absolutely.
There's this other big thing as we close, and it's a postpartum hemorrhage. And apparently it's the biggest cause of maternal deaths. And it actually, according to the Uganda Bureau of Statistics, it shows that it accounts to 39% of deaths currently. Postpartum hemorrhage. What causes this, in a nutshell?
The excessive blood loss at birth,
yes,
can occur to anyone. There are people at high risk, those people with the low-lying placentas, those who have had 6 deliveries or more, those who are already anemic, but it can affect anyone. There are interventions to prevent it and to actively manage it. In prevention, how nice it would be that every mom coming to the birth time has the highest level of hemoglobin. Her amount of blood is very high. That type of person, if she bleeds from a point of strength. Unlike the one who comes in who is anemic, a little blood loss is already a disaster.
Yes.
In the birth process, there are standards of drugs that should be used, after the baby is
giving
born.
birth.
So they should be given all the time. There's no excuse for not giving it all the time, even the lowest level health facility. And should excessive bleeding occur, all the health workers should know the ABC. What do you do? Is the uterus contracted?
Yes.
Is there a tear? Is the placenta out? The ABC is the drill of managing a postpartum hemorrhage. Once that one is done, the others are going to be the few extras that need a referral to the consultant obstetricians or something like that. But a lot of prevention and management can be done at the lower healthcare facilities or the low and middle level health providers.
Thank you so much for coming in the show, Dr. You have been very helpful. I'm sure you've learned a thing or two. In case you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please keep them coming. The hashtag is morning@ntv. Right now, I will hand you over to Flavia, who is on standby. Flavia.
Thank you so much, Mala. And I'm looking forward to an awesome conversation in Take Note, where we have everyone from pensions to capital markets, regulators, and they're talking about how to prime, inclusion in our finances, whether you have a small business and you're thinking, sources of capital, sources of money, and also having financial services is hard for me in this year. How can I take advantage of what's available in the economy today? We're having that after the